Good evening and thanks for joining us. Carly, pretty good news for Border City baseball players. They get an August session as opposed to just the summer.
Yes, that's right. Pretty much the boys and girls of summer get a chance to kind of be the boys and girls of fall. It's awesome.
Well, good stuff. Shauna, and I had a look at the long-range forecast today, and it looks pretty good. Spoiler alert, I guess, but...
It is. It's fantastic. And, we had a great day. However, some clouds are moving into the area, and we're sitting at 24 degrees here in Lloydminster and across the region. In the Lakeland, they're dealing with some active weather, some thunder showers there. And in the Battleford, it's a beautiful day there. However, the clouds have rolled in. So with all this active weather, there is some precipitation on the way. How much and when will it arrive? I'll have your full weather forecast coming up a little later on.
Lloydminster RCMP arrested a 25-year-old man last night for committing an indecent act in public. They received a complaint around 8 o'clock about a man in a public park near 39th Street and 53rd Avenue. The suspect tried to run away after realizing someone had witnessed his behavior, but police arrested him later. Emery Penner is scheduled to appear in Alberta Provincial Court on September 20th. The province continues to try and resolve the issue surrounding rezoning air weapons range at CFB Cold Lake. Alberta Minister of Finance Lloyd Snelgrove met with Cold Lake City Council last night to present a potential agreement which could finally end the bombing range dispute.
We had some really good discussions with Lakeland, with the MD of Bonneville, and obviously here with the City Cold Lake. We'll go back now, we'll put our heads together with our staff, deal with some of the concerns that they had, some of the suggestions.
Details of the possible new plans weren't released, but Mayor Copeland did say council has concerns with the new draft.
The funding for the city itself, we're hoping the numbers are going to be stronger than what we're seeing right now. But for long term for the city, 10, 15 years out, it's a good deal for the city of Cold Lake. But right now, there's still concern on council in terms of what do we do right now.
A decision is expected within the next 2 weeks. While the Conservative Party searches for a new leader, other parties are gearing up for the potential Alberta election. As Clayton Brown explains, Wild Rose leader Danielle Smith passed through the Lakeland region as she nears the end of her 22-day tour of the province.
Day 21 saw the Wild Rose leader make her journey through the Lakeland region, stopping in St. Paul, Elk Point, Bonneville, and Cold Lake before addressing the public in Ardmore.
By the time we're done, we'll have visited 50 different communities and 22 different constituencies, doing town halls and tours and meeting with councils and just really hearing from Albertans about what's on their mind.
A top concern for municipalities in the region is the situation surrounding the weapons range tax revenue, one that Smith believes the province isn't dealing with properly.
I'll be watching very closely to see what kind of decision happens in this area, but I do fear that they're going in the wrong direction by forcing municipalities to fight with each other over the share of the municipal pie and assessment.
Smith says she's learning many communities across Alberta are sharing a lot of the same problems, one being doctor shortages, an issue that is a growing concern here in the Lakeland.
How we solve this problem is to, first of all, start increasing the number of spaces that we have at our institutions so we graduate more nurses and doctors, have a loan forgiveness program in place to attract doctors and nurses to remote and rural areas, and do a better job of recognizing foreign credentials.
Her tour wraps up in Edmonton Wednesday night. In Bonneville, Clayton Brown, Newcap News.
Mixed martial arts is one of the fastest growing sports in the world and a multi-billion-dollar industry. But despite its success, the sport continues to be the target of criticism from parts of the medical community. Robert Buffum has more.
Modern-day gladiators laying it all on the line in a cage in front of a crowd. Mixed martial arts, sometimes called ultimate fighting, has a devoted and growing following.
MMA is probably the fastest growing sport within the last decade.
Mark Lindskog is a promoter of professional MMA. He says some degree of injury is inevitable in all contact sports.
It's just like any sport. There's always risks in it, right? Football, hockey, baseball, everybody's getting hurt every day. Like it's nothing different.
And now MMA has come under attack again from medical professionals. Most recently, the BC Medical Association called for a ban on the sport after a competitor suffered a head injury in an amateur fight, a demand that echoed last year's campaign by the Canadian Medical Association.
We spoke to both the Alberta and Saskatchewan medical associations, and both bodies said they didn't want to comment on the issue.
However, the Canadian Medical Association reiterated their position of a year ago that they absolutely do want to see a ban on mixed martial arts. And the potential for injury in the sport has attracted the attention of researchers at the U of A.
With judo and boxing, injuries may happen, but that's not the main focus of the activity. Whereas in mixed martial arts, the main focus of the activity is really to harm your opponent.
But local physicians caution against making generalizations about the relatively new sport.
Unlike boxing, which has a long tradition and regulation and strict controls, MMA is still not that well regulated.
Lindskog agrees that proper regulations are needed and is frustrated that some bad apples tarnish the image of the sport.
It's up to the promoters, such as myself. We do CAT scans, we do the physicals, we do full blood work, medicals, everything before we even look at a fighter.
But he notes the next EFC event is coming up in October, and some critics aside, those in the sport's corner are legion and growing. Robert Buffum, Newcap News.